Welcome to another episode of Reseller Evolution. I'm Scott.
And I'm Carl.
How's it going, Carl?
It's great.
It's great. Nice.
Yep. Episode 53.
53. Wow. Yeah. And, well, we're recording this just before Christmas because we want to put it out on the Friday. Anyone new to the channel here, we're here every Friday and we're on Spotify and YouTube. So we usually say it at the end, but I think throw it in the beginning. And hit that subscriber button because we're trying to get more subscribers.
Well, we went down this week, so what can I say?
Yes. And leave a comment because we have a comment section.
Yeah.
So what we do is we talk a little bit about how our reselling went throughout the week. We just kind of, I don't know, sometimes we digress into other topics, but we just let people know what's going on in our lives. And then we throw in a Bolo, thanks to Tina Mack, one of the listeners and commenters. And we do the Bolo thing, and then we just read over the comments. So leave a comment. We will definitely read your comment. We're not that big as of yet, stepping on the heels of Joe Rogan size podcast, but we're not there yet. So we definitely will get to your comment is what I'm getting at. So anything you want to add to that, Carl?
No, hey, it's been almost a year, I guess, but thanks for everyone for listening. And
yes,
I hope you get some entertainment out of this.
And we hope you had a Merry Christmas. So
Merry Christmas to everyone. Yes, for sure.
We're going into the new year, so we'll wish you a happy new year, I guess, on this one.
Well, we'll have one more, I think.
Oh, do we have one more?
Well, I'm not sure how we'll have to try to figure out how to fit it in, but I'm sure we can. It's just it should be fine.
Okay, so we'll wish you a happy new year next podcast.
That's right.
So what's going on, Carl? How's things going? How's your booth? Did you go to the booth this week?
I decided to go this time. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So it was okay. You know what? Like the people there, I'm on repeat, but the people are really nice. Like I've only been there 3 months, but it feels like I've known these guys and gals for years now. So they're, we had a potluck and that was nice. And it wasn't. I think sales were fine. Like I forgot to look, but it was like 150 or so, which is good. Which is good for me. The people were good, and they had a potluck, and everyone's Merry Christmas. But it was cold, damn it.
Yeah.
So I have a small complaint about my car. This is the first time I had this problem. So when it's cold, it really affects the range.
Okay.
And so I drove down there. I boosted to like 95% max, and I got down there with 50, right? And the problem is over the day it drains, especially when it's cold, because it has to keep the batteries warm.
Yeah. And
it got down to, I don't know, 44, 43 or something like that, 42. And so I had to recharge before I come home, which is fine because there's a place nearby 5 minutes away. Well, I never experienced this before. Before I could charge it, I had to warm up the battery. It says needs to warm up the battery. That took 25 minutes, according to it, to warm up the battery.
Wow.
Just to put in 5 minutes of charging.
So that have 30 minutes then.
For nothing.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Because it's cold. So is that because the batteries are getting older, or should they should be well in that lifespan, right?
Yeah. So for one thing, I feel my range is a lot lower than it should be. So I don't know what's going on with that. But number two, it's like, I didn't expect that extra time. Like it would be true even with new batteries, because the batteries have to, like when you're using a supercharger, it charges a lot faster than your home.
Yeah. And
so it has to warm up the batteries to accept that super fast charge. But I was shocked it would take that long. So I got stuck for a little while.
Well, I'm in Southern Ontario, so we basically have Florida weather here. But
yeah, California,
dude, it was cold here too. It was I think it got down to like -10.
It was -17 here, with wind chill 25 or -25 or something.
Yeah. So, but it's actually going to warm up during this week. It said +7. I think on Christmas Day it's going to be +7.
Yeah. You must be at least 5 or 6 degrees warmer than us
Oh, at least.
on
No,
average.
sometimes it's a bad thing because when it snows, sometimes when it's at that milder temperature, we get
Yeah.
heavy snow, right? But I mean, it is what it is. I'd rather have the mild temperature, to be honest. But what was I going to say? Oh, but in Alberta, those guys say you could not have one of those cars in Alberta
Oh, I
because,
would never.
yeah,
And don't
because
get
it
me
just doesn't
wrong,
make sense in the winter.
it doesn't make sense in the winter. Yeah, no, no, don't. Hey, and don't get me wrong, I love the car. Like this is the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
time
yeah,
in 4 years I've had this problem, and it cost me half an hour and like $3 of charging or something. It was annoying.
yeah.
So, and I might be able to find a workaround around it, but it was just that happened, and I want to be honest with my booth. They have my car and everything, and that sucked. Also, I found like I got a spot at the charging station this time, no problem, but it was full. So I'm wondering if there's so many more people now with Teslas because it's a big selling vehicle. The Y is like one of the top selling vehicles, period. So there's a lot more vehicles out there. So I'm wondering if they're going to have to add more charging stations. Anyways, so I got to drive home and I did the nervous, like I'm going to get home with, I got home with 9% and I don't like that. So,
Well, I saw my very first time in person the Tesla truck,
oh, the Cybertruck.
the Cybertruck.
What a piece of garbage. Yeah.
But it looks like a fucking, but it looks like a UFO driving by you. You know what I mean?
I
It
know.
definitely stands out.
It stands out. Yeah. So does like the Wienermobile or like,
Well, I don't mind it.
oh,
Like
really?
it's not something I would buy.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't. I also not big on the cookie cutter where all the cars look the same. So when you see that,
Yeah.
it kind of it's
Stands
futuristic.
out. Yeah.
It's futuristic in
Yeah.
appearance, but also remember the '60s and the '50s when you watch TV and you see all these big cars and they're all like look different. They got the big fins and everything on the back. Like what a time to be where everything is different. You know
Where
what I mean?
gas is cheap and aerodynamics is something you didn't
Well,
give a crap about.
gas
But
doesn't.
I'm not
Gas
bashing them. I
wasn't
think they're beautiful
necessarily
cars.
cheap because I remember in the '70s people were complaining about the price of gas. It's
You
just a
remember
matter
the
of perspective.
70s?
What's
You're not,
that?
you remember the 70s? You're not that much older than me.
Well, I was born in '70. I don't remember it, but I
Right. Okay.
remember that by watching it that in the '70s people were upset with gas prices, and there was at one point where there was lineups to get gas and
Oh,
gas
yeah. That was
stations.
embargo. That was like a
No, but I'm
not
just
a
saying, like,
natural event. Yeah.
if we sit here and say, "Oh my God," like I remember complaining when gas was $1. Well, I wish it would go back to $1.
I know.
You know,
It's funny watching old things and how cheap
yeah.
things were.
So to say it was cheap is just a matter of per- perception, I guess.
Whoever says there isn't inflation, I always say just go watch some old TV.
Yeah, like I think it was like '80s, early '80s.
Yeah,
Minimum wage was $3.
I know. It's like
You know what I mean?
it's crazy.
So anyway,
Anyways, I don't want to talk about my car. I'm just saying that sucked.
yeah.
But
But I saw
I
my
think,
first Cybertruck too. So
oh yeah, you saw your first
yeah.
Cybertruck. I haven't seen one yet.
Well, when it was coming at me, I'm like, wow, that looks really weird. Like, because you
Yeah,
can't tell it's a truck. Like, he just kind of looks like that aerodynamic. I'm like, that's a weird looking front end. And then as it drove by me, it's like, holy shit, that's one of those Cybertrucks. Like,
it just seems that's a bad idea. Like the last thing you want to do is use an electric car to haul stuff because that's not their best use
dude,
scenario. Is like how I use it, which is basically drive an hour away, drive an hour back. You're fine unless it's really cold like this, right?
it's not a truck for hauling stuff. It's not. You
Well, the
can't
back,
like it's got the whole back and everything. Like to me, that truck is just it's the name of a truck. I don't think it's a real functional truck like most trucks. You're not
well,
going to go
this
mudding.
bed in the back. You just can't see it if the back is. I don't know how it works to be honest. You should be careful. But
Yeah,
I think there's something
it's a bed in the
covering it.
back. That's all it is. Like I mean, remember what was those cars that came out? They had a bed in the back. I mean, you go get a Hyundai with a bed in the back. It's
When I say bed, I mean like
no,
hauling
I know
bed.
what you mean.
Okay,
Yeah, it's got the an open
bed.
like
Yeah,
box,
you
right?
box. Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but what I'm saying is, it's not a real. It's not something that you would have as a real work truck. Like I don't think a farmer would use that. You know
Oh
what I
no,
mean?
I just don't like you use too much energy hauling stuff around. Like you can do it, doesn't mean you should do it.
Yeah, and I don't think it's. I
But
think it's more of of an appearance of a look thing than an actual practical hauling
to,
around things.
to be honest, I've seen many of F-150 here in Ottawa with very clean beds that haven't
Oh,
seen
dude,
a pebble.
100%.
Yeah.
If you
So
look at the exterior of my truck, it looks really good. But if you go into the body, like, of course, I have like a coating, right? But it's all beat up and it's
yeah,
like
it's being used.
it's been used. But if I close the tunnel cover and I give the truck a wash, it looks like a brand new truck, right? Like
Yeah.
the exterior is what you take care of. The interior to a degree too, although it's usually got stuff in the back seat and it's dirty. Stuff gives me crap for it all the time. Clean your truck.
Oh my
But
god, I have one of those gift certificates to get my car detailed, and I've had
yeah,
it
we
for a
do.
year because
Yeah,
it's like I need to get it clean enough to get it cleaned.
yeah, we do that about once a year, whether it needs it or not. But
Yeah.
I just didn't do it this year. So last year, Steph got me that for my birthday. Um, so maybe I'll have to get that done. But anyway, I
Enough truck
digress.
talk.
What's
This
that?
enough car talk. Let's get back into the reselling because that's people are probably like they probably feel how I feel when other people like start talking about football. It's like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Like, I don't care about
They
this.
like the talk. They like
I
hearing the big truck stories.
I'm sure they
No,
do.
it's funny, right? Like I have a friend of mine. She was a really nice person, but she was like
But
very anti-truck in a way. Like she was like
oh
goes
yeah,
out to yard sales and stuff, and it's like these guys in these big trucks come,
they're like around the corner.
driving through and all this stuff. And I said, yeah, that's me. That's
Did you
I
see
do the
me?
same thing too. She goes, well, there's like they drive through like they're trying to bully you out of the way and stuff. I said they're just driving through, and she goes, like she was kind of like anti-truck for a second, and then she's like. And I said, listen, I said, I drive a truck and everybody hates trucks until the time they need one.
I
Right.
know, and
And
then
then
they
I'm
call you
getting
up.
phone calls to go help move stuff. Right.
Thank
So,
God I don't have that. I remember once I just talked about getting a truck, and then I started getting calls about like borrowing my truck.
yeah, exactly. No one borrows the truck, but I'll go help move stuff. But, what was I going to say? So it's kind of one of those things. Like they're definitely like, I love the truck. Like, yeah, I love the truck.
Anyways,
So
yeah,
yeah. So,
yeah,
yeah, so it sounds like you did well at the booth at your booth.
yeah. It was fine. Like it
Yeah.
was fine.
So
Uh,
this weekend was just an average weekend. I thought it was like last weekend was great, and I thought, wow, we're getting closer to Christmas. We should have a really great weekend at the booth, and it was just average, just a
you
regular.
know, like, and for me, it was a case of like I never want to go. Like when it's cold and 6:30 in the morning. Like for
Yeah,
me, that's
for sure.
early. But every time I go, I have a great time
Yeah, yeah.
talking to everyone. Like that's what that's what keeps me going.
It's like yard sales, buddy. When I have to get up, I'm like, oh, I hate getting up. But once I get up and get a coffee, get driving, I'm all excited, right? Like I'm like happy to be getting out there hitting the yard sales. But we all
Yeah.
struggle to get up is a struggle. It's almost painful.
Oh, talking to the guys who sell at Lachute, like I think I mentioned that they talk about like they go there like the night before to set up. Like, really? I can't
Yeah, I
believe
know.
it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, I know the spots are important, but is it really that important? I don't know. Maybe it's a competitive
Oh,
thing. With guys.
the guys that just sit up once a week.
Yeah, I'm a little confused with Lachute because it sounds like they might do it more than once a week. But like on Tuesdays is the big day, and they'll set up Monday night to get the prime spot.
Yeah. Okay, so that's different. I see what you're saying. Um,
That's
I would
crazy.
probably, yeah, I would probably set up the night before. You would definitely
Really?
want a prime spot. Yeah.
Screw that.
Well, I would set up the night before, and then you could bring more stuff in the next day that maybe you forgot, or there's always other things. But
Yeah.
if I was to do, because you're not doing it necessarily every weekend, it's just that when you do
Oh,
do
that's
it,
true.
you want
That's
it,
really, yeah. Sorry,
right?
interrupting. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and usually if you're setting up the Friday, that
Mhm.
like those are the situations where you're going to buy from the vendors because it's new product coming in every week. It's new vendors in a lot of cases, probably too, and you're not necessarily there all the time. So if you get there on the Friday, you set up, that's probably when you're going to make most of your sales to other vendors, is probably their best day. Plus you're going to go around and look to buy, right? Like I would have Steph monitoring the booth, and I would go out and buy. That's how I would run it. And then the Saturdays probably just your. I bet you probably do more on Friday selling to other vendors than you do on the Saturday. Is
Well,
my guess.
definitely with the booth, I sell more to other vendors than I
Yeah.
do
So
to
I
the
would say
public.
that probably that's their situation too.
Yeah.
It's just a guess, but that's what I would suspect.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, I would if I was in that situation, and if I was in your situation, I thought that's what you were saying. People go Friday night, set up, like prep their booth, and then come back in Saturday. I would just prep it in the morning.
Oh no, I don't know. They're
That's what
not
I
even
thought you were
open. They're
talking
only
about.
open Sundays, so it doesn't.
So you can't prep the night before. That's what I thought you were talking
Yeah,
about.
I don't think any. Some people don't even bring in new stuff ever.
Yeah.
So, it's like I said, it's been good. And you said your booth sales over the weekend were okay.
Yeah, like they were good, but they weren't spectacular.
No.
I did just over 200 on the Saturday and about 200 even, like probably like $10 under 200 on the Sunday. And usually Sunday is the best day of the week. So that was just like very average, right? I think the weekend before I was doing like I did 500 on the one day and over 400 the other day. And I was expecting at least that this weekend, and it just didn't happen. So But that being said, Wednesday and Thursday were awesome. Like they were great days.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Right? Yeah. So,
and your eBay sales have been crazy good.
Well, I've been listing more, so that helps. Now that, and this is the other topic, Canada Post is open now and running full tilt. So,
yeah, I was there this morning. Yeah.
So that makes a big difference, right?
Oh,
Not only in how many people, like what you can sell and buy and all this, or people can buy and get now, but it also opens up, like for instance, those little toy soldiers. I was holding off on those because it didn't make sense. I'm selling them for $30 to $49. So let's say probably about $35-$40 on average. But it didn't make sense to list them and sell them when I'm paying a minimum of $17 to ship them. Yeah. Where I'm only charging $10 because at Canada Post it's cost me $8 to $9 to ship them.
Yep.
Right? So not only, is there going to be like, I guess, less sales, it's costing me $10 in shipping. So I'm losing, even though I might be making, I don't know, $10 profit, I'm losing on making $19 profit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just roughly.
Yeah. You're just, yes.
Per
show, big
per
difference.
Folder. And I'm talking, well, it's actually going to be more than that. But like if I'm selling it for 35, by the time they take their percentage and everything, I'm still looking at probably 25 in profit, right? So if I'm making 25 profit and they're taking an extra $9 off that compared to now where I'm actually making like $1.50 to $1 profit just off the
shipping. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyways, it didn't make sense to be listing them, but now I can list a lot of them. As we were discussing pre-recording, a lot of these were photographed by my son. So I got lots of photos to already in the system. So I just need to list them. Right?
That's great.
Yeah. So it's been working out pretty good. So, and I sold some really neat things too, like a motorcycle suit for $260. I had 300 on it.
Yeah.
So that was nice. That's going to Quebec. I made $6 on shipping because shipping was cheaper than what I estimated. Now, if it went to Alberta or Newfoundland or something like that, then I'd be paying more, than what I charged. So I probably charged the right amount and got lucky. But some books sold and just a variety of different things have been selling. So, nice. But I would say majority is the toy soldiers. But
I think when I look at your sales, you have a nice variety. Like there's not just toy soldiers for sure. You might be doing big bulks of them at once, but like you have from lava lamps to jackets to like things for vending machines to toy soldiers. It's like,
the vending machine stuff was a nice surprise too. I had 2 big bags and I divided them up. I said there's 60 in each bag, but there was actually about 64, 65. I threw a couple extras in there so they didn't complain. So I was charging, I think it was 35 or 39 bucks per bag. And I had 3 listings up, and someone messaged me and asked me if I had more. I said, yeah, I'm about to list 3 more. And he goes, you know, how much would you do if I bought all 6 of them? So I said, how about 25 bucks? And he agreed to that. Sent me a picture of his shop and showed me his vending machines. So he has a shop where he has a bunch of
Oh,
vending
that's
machines.
cool. I love when
Yeah.
people do that.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you after, Carl. I can't show it. Obviously, this is audio, but I can show you. He had a really neat setup, right? So he goes, I use these to fill up my vending machines. And anyway, so he bought all 6 for 25 bucks, $150, and I just revised it into one listing.
Nice.
So I took down the others and made it all one listing. And
It'd be
then
nice if like eBay had more like internal stuff to do that. Like I know they had combined shipping. And who knows? Maybe there's a way to do this, but like I would just like to be able to click all listings that go into one person and just like put this in one order and let me discount the entire order.
yeah, but
Right?
you know what though? I only had 3 up, and the other 3 I had to put up.
True, but I just meant in general. Like I don't
In
even
general,
mean
yes.
this exact example. I just meant for it'd be
Yeah.
a nice feature to have. It doesn't happen to me that often, but it definitely would be nice to have, you know.
So he actually collects acorn and acorn vending machines, or sorry, gumball machine type stuff. So he asked me if I had anything else. I do. I have all acorn machines and parts and glass inserts and stuff. So I said it's in storage. I said I just have to get to it. But so I might even have a buyer as soon as I list that stuff. So
This has been a killer year for you. Do you think this has been one of your best years?
Oh, it's definitely been one of my best years. But I I say this very humbly and lightly, but I think it's only going to get better, Carl. Because I really feel. You ever feel like you're just kind of putting around, you don't really know what you're doing, and all of a sudden it's just clicking into gear.
Flow. You're in the flow state.
I'm in the flow. So I feel like
Yeah.
I really have a knowledge base that is pretty good.
It feels so wonderful being like that.
Yeah. So I feel really good at knowing what to get, and then I can hone it down to like, okay, this is too broken up, or I'm going to have to put too much work in it, or this is a beautiful parts and repair situation. You know what I mean? So my knowledge and I just feel like everything's driving on all.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I'm really happy for you. Like you're doing this full time. It's a big commitment.
It's a big commitment. And another thing is, honestly, like I've said this before, and it might be ridiculous. Like I say it as a positive thing, but some people might say, Scott, you're an idiot. So it's either way, it's fine. But I honestly have probably so much stuff here. Like I could easily go 6 months without buying. Not that that's going to happen, but just in the toy soldiers alone, I think I got, pretty much that. But so going forward, how I plan on doing it is doing about 10 toy soldiers a day and trying to hit, because they're very quick. Sounds like a lot, but I can actually probably do 10 in a couple hours.
10
is very repetitive, very similar type situation.
Yeah. The dream item, really.
Really, it is like very fortunate there. So to say I'm going to do 10 is probably being lazy, although it sounds like quite a bit. And then I'd like to do another 5, and I'd really like to do 10, but at least get 15 items up a day. So do 10 toy soldiers, 5 of other items. You know what I mean? But if I do that in 3 hours or 4 hours, I might even do another couple, or like even 5, you know what I mean, of other items. But keep the toy soldiers limited to 10. And Scott, they're selling. Why don't you throw them all out there? Well, you know what? Because it gives me the 10 basics I need every day. You know what I mean? Like it keeps my algorithm and my eBay. There's every day there's 10 new items being put up, even though they're very similar in that they're toy soldiers. They're seeing I'm putting up 10 items a day.
Can't hurt.
Very consistently.
Yeah.
So if I'm just doing 10 a day, I got 6 months. I probably could do 6 months worth of stuff here. There's just so many toy soldiers. It's insane. But It's just, dude, I'll never find enough. I know I'm not bragging about it. It makes me very happy to be able to talk about it. And I know something like this will probably never come around again. But
And you know what they say, the deal of a lifetime comes around every month or two, or 6 months, I find.
just, I wish. I wish.
Well, we forget too, right?
I'll
Because
never forget. I
even
won't
things
forget that.
like all those like the orthopedic soles you got, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not as flashy. It might not have as quick a sell through rate as like toy soldiers and all that, but it was still a great buy.
Oh, it's still paying off.
It's
Yes.
just a boring thing,
Yeah.
right? But really, it pays the bills in
Well,
its own
and
way.
not only that with the insoles, what I have 167 in total or something like that, but it's really only 30 listings or something because there's many
Yes.
multiples
Yeah.
and nobody cares about the condition of the box or anything. They're just
Yeah.
brand new insoles. So,
Yeah.
right?
No one's
So I can
collecting
do
insoles.
quantity of 10, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's amazing. Those would be my best ones too. Like just stuff like that. And
yeah.
yeah, it doesn't come along, but the opportunity sometimes comes up. You just have to decide, is this right for me?
Well, I
And
mean, the books
to
was a
be
good
honest,
one. The books
having it
was a good
listed
one
is the
too,
big
but
thing. Yeah.
dude, that
But
was a lot of work.
that's a lot of work. Yeah.
Like it was like, you ever watch the girl back from Burnout? She's Australian and she does just books.
No.
Well, she's been doing a few videos recently,
Yeah.
and she's worth a watch. Back from Burnout,
Yeah.
Mel's her name. She's going
No.
through some life ups and downs and stuff like that, but she's very, yeah, I mean, as transparent as probably you can be um, on YouTube. But basically she's had some ups and downs and stuff, but she's moved her store a couple of times for good reasons, but like she got a divorce, so she had to move everything into another location.
Oh God.
She got this location, and I think they had to move it to a better location. And now her new boyfriend here owns the warehouse, also
Oh,
sells
you
on
mentioned
eBay.
this. Yeah. Either
Yeah, so
offline or online. I can't remember, but you
he's
mentioned, yeah.
given her a really good opportunity with a ton of books.
Yeah.
So she needed a bigger warehouse. So now she had to move everything into another bigger
Oh
warehouse.
God.
She's
Damn.
in
And books are
tears,
the
right?
worst for that too, right?
Yeah, and they're all books, dude. They're all books. So she's in tears. Like, I would be in tears too. These two toy soldiers are like feathers compared to those books, right? So, um, anyway, she's fun to watch. I would recommend to watch it, but that was the only problem with the books. They were a good experience. I've learned a lot from them, and I would definitely look into books again, especially if I was in a need inventory situation. I would totally buy old books, but they're going to be heavy and a lot of work.
Books are hard. Like sales come along on the weekend, and it's like, "Oh, do you want these books?" It's like, "No," and like you said, no one wants books. And it's like, yeah, because unless they're really old or unique or hardback, Stephen King or something, they're hard. They're a hard sell. Like or manga. Manga sells well, but just
But
regular mill to run
and
books.
I know you watch Golden State Picker.
Yes.
Did you see his last video? I think it was
No,
he made.
not yet.
So he was talking about how many books are sold in America, and there are so many books being sold because he was talking about Costco is getting out of selling books. They're moving in a different direction because they're just. I think it was because they were taking up so much room or something like that. And they're too heavy, and they're very I guess you would say labor intensive.
Low margin in general.
So, but at the same time, books, like he was saying, like books are one of the best selling things in America right now.
Well, quote unquote, it's the valuable and the valueless is definitely books, and there's a lot
Yes,
of valueless.
right.
But
No, you're 100% right on that for sure. Like, be very careful of what you're buying, because even if it's a book that's worth $15, even if it's worth $20, the amount of shipping it's going to cost because they're so heavy might not be worth it,
and the
or they might be
turnover
very
rate,
big. They might be big too, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like the
weird
books I'm listing
sizes,
online
yeah.
are usually $40 and up. Like I sold those Napoleon books 4 of them for $165. I have others listed and have sold in the $400 range. But to be listing books at $10, at least here in Canada, we couldn't do it because it would cost $15 to ship it,
I know.
right?
Like,
So, and people just aren't going to do that. So you got to be very careful with books. So I wouldn't
like
recommend just for the sake of getting books. I think there's a lot, like you said, there's valuable and the valueless. So you have to kind of learn. And that's what this opportunity I'm talking about with all those 3,000 books. I learned a lot, especially about the older stuff.
yeah, and with books, you can't necessarily like. I know for older books, there's some genres you might want to look at, but even then, you're not guaranteed to make a money off of them. And you had to get. I don't know. It's just like I would never recommend that to a new reseller or even probably a moderate one because it's like clothing can be a pain in the butt too, right? Like more power to the people who want to do that, but it's not nearly as easy as toy soldiers, right?
Right.
And that doesn't mean it isn't worth it, but I just like I do sell books. Like I said, I sell manga. I have sold some UFO books, but the amount of like looking at books versus the actual getting the books, and then does the book actually sell? And then, I don't know.
So,
It's interesting market. Maybe we're poo-pooing it, but it's.
I'm not poo-pooing it at all. I'm actually praising it. You just have to kind of be careful. Now, one of the things I've learned about how to get rid of books is there's like online auctions. So I deal with a certain online auction house, I guess you would say, or auction location company. So there are things that you're going to have to research. When you get really good at researching and kind of trusting where to go and where to find your prices. But anyway, they are labor intensive, not only in carrying but researching. But whatever I want to get rid of, I'll throw in a lot at an auction house. I might put 10 per lot and I could take 10 lots in. I might get $4 or $5 for that lot, or I might get $25. Like that's kind of where I am at. I also have the antique booth. So the older, nicer, basically any book really. Now I've sold some books in there for over $50, but most of my books are $5 to $10. Even if they're $30 online, I'll probably put $10 on them just to move them, right? Because I'm totally in the profits for all this stuff, and I want to get them gone.
They take a lot of room.
No, well, you would think that, Carl, but compare them to anything else. If you put your books on the side, so you're reading the spine, you can fit a lot of books in a space where you could only put a few dolls.
Actually, that's a really good point.
Right? So,
yeah, the value of inventory per square foot is actually probably pretty good.
It's pretty good, right? So, but you also want to like, so I mix it up a little bit. Like I will put a bunch of books in my booth, and when it gets to a point where, okay, I think they've kind of been picked through, and I am adding to it as well, but I think they kind of been picked through, then those ones are going to go to auction, and I'll bring in new fresh inventory, which again is labor intensive. Like you're carrying boxes of books. So it's not like super easy. But like right now I'm in that transition stage. So I turn all my books that I kept there facing so that the cover's forward. They display nicer, right? So, but I'm actually having less sales of books, even though they display nicer, but there's less books there. So it makes sense, right? So it's kind of one of those weird things you just have to work with. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, actually, that doesn't make sense. You're kind of caught between the two, right?
Yeah. So
what's more important, getting like 5 spines or one good facing book?
Right. Exactly. And then I mix it up too. And I have nice little stands where I don't need the book to lean against anything. It'll sit in a nice stand. So I can advertise some of the books that way and have the rest of the books kind of spine facing out. So, you just play around with it, mix it up. And then, but people are always coming in. I would say out of the store, one of the most consistent things is DVDs and books.
Yeah, I was doing well with DVDs. I haven't had a DVD sale like in 3 weeks. It's funny. It's just like Someone even complimented my collection yesterday.
Oh,
Say, oh,
really?
you got great DVDs here. They didn't buy any, but they said they were nice. I don't know.
So
You know what's funny is when I put DVDs in front of other DVDs, my sales dropped. So I'm like, it's hard to be like, you take every little hint as like, this is the way things are. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But it
yeah,
feels like they don't want to look through them if it was too hard to look through them. But
yeah.
I'm just being paranoid. I know. But it's just funny how that your mind works to the most immediate like circumstances, and that's the way it is. At least for me,
Dude,
anyway.
I just grab horror movies, I throw them in a tote, and people come in and dig through them. That's it.
I know, and that works for you. Or like I move things around and then I immediately sold something.
Yep,
Like that
yep.
was me on the weekend. It's like I'm gonna move these tarot cards and then immediately sold some, like
It's
at no
crazy.
sales. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah, I even moved it to a more obscure spot.
I know.
And it's like, okay,
You often wonder if I didn't move that, would that person
I
still
know,
want it? Like,
I
right?
know.
Is it that person or is it?
You can drive yourself nuts.
I know, dude. It's crazy. I don't know,
I
but
what I feel bad is like when do you have this DVD? And it's like I know effing clue. I
yeah.
always say no. I don't. I don't know.
Um, one thing I'm very, very happy I got is that disc cleaner.
Yeah. I
Because
bugged you about that.
it does such a good job. And
Yeah,
one of the things that's been selling both online
yeah.
and out of the booth is series, complete series, like a collection, like series or seasons. Sorry, complete seasons, seasons
Yes.
one to
Yeah.
six or something like that. If you
Those
have
are
that,
the best. Yeah.
they've been doing phenomenal.
They do great. Yeah, that's always been kind of true. Like
Yeah, but
set
even for
sell.
good prices, dude.
Yep. Yep.
You told me about a month ago on this show. You were talking about the Western DVD collection things. We're going for good money. Yes. So when I got the toy soldiers, and I'm seeing, so I bought the toy soldiers. Well, she also her husband who had passed away, but she had all her stuff down all around the toy soldier stuff downstairs. There was a bunch of Western stuff. The Rifleman, Rawhide, uh,
Rawhide.
Daniel Boone. There was a bunch of Western, but they were complete seasons, right?
Yeah.
There was also the Man from Uncle, which isn't a Western, but because you told me about the Western things, I'm like, I'm gonna take a chance on this. I sold the Rawhide ones for $70, complete set. I got Daniel Boone up there for probably around kind of the same. The Rifleman is really good. I haven't got to them yet because there are going to be the few discs in all, like say you got 6 seasons. There's going to be a couple in there that need cleaning. So I just bought
Yeah.
me, but to to have like 6 seasons, maybe 5 discs need cleaning. That brings that value up because of this little cleaner doing 5 discs out of that complete set. You know what I mean? So that cleaner is so worth it. Um, and every DVD for like every DVD that I've tried, and when I say I've cleaned a bunch of DVDs, I haven't tried them all, but every single one I've tried always works.
Yep.
It's not like it's screwing up the DVD.
No.
Video games, same thing. Never had an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to start selling DVDs and video games and stuff like that, I would totally recommend
Yeah. And if you see
the
sets
disc.
of DVDs, don't just buy them because like a lot of sets are not worth anything. But if you
Well,
get them cheap enough, then it's okay, right? Like if you're paying $1 or $2 for a set, then or if it's
right.
like when I got the sets that were part of big DVD collections, I just bought the whole collection and they were in there.
But you and
So
I have different options to us now. Like if I buy a DVD set that's worth $10 and I paid $1 for it, I can throw in the booth for $10
yeah,
because it's not worth it to put it online. So
no.
I don't lose, and I don't have to sit there and look it up. I just throw in the booth, you know. So we have that option now. You have that option where you are. You know, you could just take it, put $10 on, and throw in your booth.
Yep. Yeah, and they
So
sell even
and
weird
they
ones.
sell.
Even
So
weird ones. Yeah. It
so
helps if you have the entire season, but I mean the entire series, like not just like one season.
right.
But
Well,
that's
for
not
sure.
necessarily true. So
Right.
it depends. But like, I won't even look at like things like I just assume The Office, for example, has no value because they just produce a crap ton of them. But I could be wrong. I haven't actually looked. So
Yeah, I don't know. I know especially like the Man from Uncle is a good one. the Fright Hilarious House of Frightenstein. That was like super good. I got like
Yeah,
$100 and it was only volume one.
I know. We talked about that
Yeah,
before. That stupid TV show. So bad. It was so
it's so
bad.
quick and it so
Oh my god, that's pure nostalgia. It's
yeah.
like dad jokes for half an hour for kids. It's just
Uh,
horrible.
it wasn't that bad. I don't know. It had Vincent Price in it. He's in
Uh,
there.
yeah, well, everyone likes a paycheck. Once he got tricked into a pornography film, eh?
Oh, did he?
He didn't realize it was like he just filmed his part, which obviously had nothing to do with that, and they took that and put it into the rest of the film. He was
Wow.
pissed off when he found it. So he did things for the paycheck a lot.
Yeah, but this one he knew what he was doing and he did it for a long time. So
Yeah, sure. I have a soft spot for him. It's funny.
yeah, he's pretty good. He's like if you ever watch some of his like 60s, like I don't think it goes to the 50s. I think it's like late 60s stuff. But there was one I watched. I watched it on YouTube. It's actually some of them are really corny, but they're good. They're still good. You know what I mean? They kind of for that. They're I mean they're
They're good
very
for on the background while you're doing listing. Is that what that kind of good?
yeah that kind of good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
See, we're
it's
that good, kind of good because other people say they list while listening to us, so we're also in the same level.
so we're like, hey, we're the modern day Vincent Prices. Is that what you say?
Oh, we wish. Yeah.
All right, buddy. So yeah, so everything is going pretty good. Your booth is doing good. Have you started? I guess your store is still away, like shut down.
Yeah, I'm gonna reopen it on
Your
Boxing
eBay
Day.
store.
Yeah,
Your,
eBay store. I'm gonna reopen it on Boxing Day.
oh, okay.
I just don't want to think about it in the next couple days. It's only 6 days, and
So let me ask you this, Carl, and I think I'm going to know the answer to it, but I'm going to put you in a position here where you have to come clean.
yeah,
Why did you shut your store down?
because I don't want to worry about it during Christmas holidays. I didn't want to. I'm a worrier and paranoid, so I
Okay,
don't want to
makes
worry
sense.
about
Yeah,
getting people their stuff for Christmas. I just don't want to even think about it.
but as a good little reseller,
Yes,
were you still listing stuff and putting in drafts so that when you do open up, you can just hammer out a ton of listings?
I did actually, not a ton,
Really?
but I actually did. Yeah, I was that bored.
Wow. I see. That's not what I was expecting.
You know what I was doing though was postcards.
Wow.
I
Well,
did some other
anything.
things.
It doesn't
I
matter.
did some other things too, but like postcards is just so easy, and I can watch TV upstairs
Wow.
or
I'm
listen to
impressed,
something.
buddy. I
I
really thought you were
know.
going to say, no, I didn't do shit. That's what I thought.
I'm checking right now just to see how much I drafted.
Wow.
Let's see. I
I'm
got.
impressed. I'm impressed.
How many do I got here? Does it count? 38.
Wow.
38. But most of those are postcards, and then some cheap stuff that we'll never sell to. And My Little Pony is ready to go. Yeah. You know what's funny though? And I can say his name, but I'm sure he doesn't care if I say his name. But he was talking to me at the flea market, and as he's standing there, he's like cha-ching, and then 5 minutes later, cha-ching. It's like
Oh,
you bastard. Is he selling more just standing there than I was selling all day? Cha-ching.
wow.
Yeah, good for him. But it was just funny. So I you know, I think it's safe to like at this point no one is well, I would hope no one expecting to get their stuff for Christmas.
No.
I would hope not. I don't even know what days Canada Post actually delivers. So
I would imagine they probably go till Boxing Day, 5 o'clock, like normal. Or not Boxing Day, Christmas Eve.
oh yeah.
I would imagine.
Well, we'll
And
see.
then they're probably Boxing Day off and then they get back to work.
Yeah. So yeah, anyways, I have been a good boy and I drafted a bit. I've been
Right.
buying though. I bought a bunch of crap. It
So,
might have been bad buys too. It was even
well,
better.
we touched a little bit upon last week of that private pick. That's not till January, right?
Yeah, that's not January, February. I'm not looking forward to that in a weird way. I know I should
No,
be.
come on, dude. You got to do it. You got to do it.
Oh no, I'll do it.
Okay.
It's like anything the first time, it sucks.
Yeah. I don't know. Just
No, I shouldn't say that. It's out of like for me, my ADHD brain. January, February might as well be 10 years from now. Like that's how far away that is from me.
I don't know why February is even in the conversation. I would be like first week of January.
Well, I have enough crap here.
Call her up. Get it the first week of January. Get in there.
I'm not promising that.
January of 2026. Is that what you're saying, Carl?
Oh, was that not clear? See,
I
Max
said
Gold
January, but I didn't say when.
So I bought a Max Gold. It's so easy. I just like go there, pick it up. Oh, it was a bit of a cluster though. So I picked up a Max Gold buy on Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's this street called River Road here in Ottawa where all the Richie Rich live. I swear I've been there 4 or 5 times. Like you get these it was funny. Like Amy usually doesn't come with me. She didn't come this time, but the previous time came and we're driving into this long driveway and I said, "Oh, this is the house for the gardeners." It was the friggin' house for the gardeners. There was a second huge mansion on the lot.
Wow.
It's that type of old school money.
Yeah.
And this was no exception. Right on the river, nice big lot. But it was a mess because it was like one of those one lanes that go down deep and then there's a loop. And all the cars are trapped in there. And we had to get people to back up onto the highway. Thankfully, I missed most of that because I just saw the cluster behind me. It's like, well, I'm glad I'm here now.
Yeah.
So I went in, I bought some, the Hero Quest board game.
Oh, yeah.
So I bought one of those.
Wow.
I probably paid too much for it.
Well, they come down a lot.
They have come down because they did a repop.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They used to be $500. I think they're like 150, 200 now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if I get that, I'll be happy. I haven't looked inside though. It could be filled with just garbage. Who knows? You never know with these Max Holds.
Well,
right?
It's funny. You might do better by parting it out, maybe.
Yes, this is definitely one of those cases. I saw people parting them out we'll see what I feel like doing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I already have one in my death pile.
Oh no, dude! What do you? Well, you'll make one complete one if you're missing.
Yeah, it's not. I got the neighbor to check it for me.
Yeah,
because the neighbor's really into board games. I said, "Well, do you want to try this and see if it's any good? And let me know." And he actually did all the work for me, which is really good. But
so really, what you were trying to do is have them buy it from you. So
no,
okay,
because I wouldn't give him a deal.
Check this out, but really, you want him to buy it, right?
I think like I get the nostalgia, I get it, but it's really hard to play some of these old games, right? Like they're pretty simple.
Well, if you go on YouTube and you watch people play Hero Quest,
it's boring as F.
It's really boring.
It's so boring.
But they're into it.
Well, sometimes I watch one where like the girl's like, "I don't want to play this anymore. I stop." She was so like, "I'm bored out of my mind," because it's for kids, right? Like, and it was also for a different time period where we didn't have video games. Like this was it.
Dude, listen. Let's just put it in perspective. That 1964 troll doll that I sold a couple of weeks ago for 100, I don't know, what was it, $135 or something? That was for kids too, dude. But do you think a kid's buying that?
No. I saw a troll doll actually this weekend. I forgot about that.
Oh, nice. Buddy.
I gave them a deal. It's like I was asking 15. It's like, how much? It's like, I'll give it to you for 8. They didn't even ask. It's like, just take this troll doll away.
But my point is, half the board games, half the toys,
yes,
they're made for kids, but it's not kids buying it.
Well, I'm not playing with the toy soldiers behind me. Let me put it that way. But yeah, it is a boring game.
Yes.
Yeah, so I bought that. I bought a bunch of little cards. That might be a mistake because I think I spent like $250 each, and they're probably worth like $5. Who knows, 10 maybe. I'm not sure. It's been really hell to actually comp them because online it's one of those things where you see high prices on the comps, but you just don't trust them because it seems weird. So these are like, we talked about the mini you said don't buy them. Actually, I bought them anyways. They're mini something, I can't remember, mini champs, and you told me they're a hard sell, and I bought them anyways. I was in a buying mood.
So I think I said honestly that I don't know about the mini champs, the minis, but the ones I had were champs, and I couldn't. Everything I saw was like $10 or less.
Yeah.
So maybe you could lock them up or something.
Yeah.
But those were the actual cars. But the ones I saw you have don't look like minis to me. They look like your regular kind of diet. Like they don't look like
they're a Hot Wheel size. Maybe slightly bigger, actually.
Because to me, the mini ones are like an inch.
Oh
That
no,
would
no,
be
no, 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 no. These aren't like that's I haven't seen these in a long time. Do you remember the oh it'll come to me later. The little tiny cars and trucks? What are they called? Someone's yelling at the podcast right now. Can't remember. Anyways,
say it again. What are you saying?
there's these mini cars that are highly collectible. Like and they're like a
Micro machine.
thumbnail micro machines. That's it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh that's a bolo I haven't seen in a long time is micro machines.
Well, you're gonna like punch me through the screen here, Carl. But I was at the auction when I got the troll and I got that Scooby Doo thing.
Yeah.
So we got down to $10, and I noticed this truck, and I opened it up, and it was full of micro machine stuff. So I just left it on the table, but I was standing right next to the guy doing the auctioneer. He's got one of those headsets on. He's talking. So I said to him, I said, "What are we at right now?" And he was kind of talking, and he's auctioning off. And then some guy, as I'm trying to figure out whether I should grab this or not, what we're at, he came and got it, and we're at $10. And I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, I should have just picked it up and asked them. Then nobody could take it, right?
That's
So
weird.
yeah, it was kind of a scrambly little situation, but it was near the end. It was
Yeah.
all these toys.
That happens sometimes in auctions where there's a bit of confusion.
Yes.
You have to accept that because like I've seen people get really upset, but it's just like you have to be quick and you have to be decisive. Like I remember one time I was there and this woman got really upset because a featherweight sold, and she said, "Oh, the only reason it's here." And then the auctioneer's like, "Well, you should have bid then."
Yeah.
But she was just caught up in the moment, and it goes fast. You can't be sleeping often on these lots, right? What I
Well,
find
yeah,
confusing
but
is when you don't
it
even
was
know
near the
what
end, and they
yeah,
were kind of going
too
like
fast.
it was kind of a weird setup. Like,
Yeah.
but they knew what they were doing, and maybe it was done purposely, right? I don't know, but
I don't think it's
everybody
on
was
purpose.
kind
I
of
think they're tired and they want to get this done, and
yeah,
they realize they're running out of time, and they don't want any BS. They don't want the guy who just waits the last second to bid. They want doom gone, done
yeah,
done, right? And it's like, and if you're watching like that, you not take advantage, but you can really score that way too. But you can also lose out. Like what I find frustrating is near the end they don't describe what they're actually selling very well. So like there'll be a box lot I'm interested in, and it's mixed in with a bunch of other box lots together in one big sale. And like, is mine in there? Is it not in there? Has it sold already? And it's like sometimes it can get very confusing, especially as everyone's getting frustrated and tired and
yeah.
just want to go home.
I think I think the way I look at it is I'd rather I'd rather miss something to get something that I'm gonna regret in a lot of ways. So I do kind of I know that there's gonna be more auctions in the future and all this stuff, but so I don't feel desperation. But I think this is one case where I could have got the micro machines for $10. I should have just done it anyway. I should have just picked
True.
it up.
You never know.
Um,
Like the other guy might have bid up to 30, right? That there's also
but
that
that's
aspect
not
of
what it was at. Like, so what happened? Like, I'll break it down a little bit more. So what happened is we were at a certain level, and you know how they say we'll do a back bidder.
no.
So okay, so let's say somebody bought something for $15, right, on choice, and then they'll go to the back bidder. Like, do you want something? I think we're at 10, to be honest with you, because I just didn't know. That's why I kind of stumbled here. And then they went to the back bidder, and then a couple other people came up and grabbed something too, because maybe what they were interested, the guy didn't pick, so they came up and grabbed. So there was two or three people grabbing different stuff. I even looked into one thing, I just didn't pick it up. And then when I was trying to figure out what we were at for prices, someone else came and picked that item up, and then
Oh,
they
I've never seen that.
yeah, it doesn't usually happen this way, but
Right.
in this particular case, yeah, I've seen it happen with other things like coins when I wasn't interested in it, but this was a bunch of toys. So they're kind of doing a backbidder thing, and maybe it got a little out of control because I think there were when you go to the backbidder, it's usually one person, but two or three people were out there crashing everything.
That is kind of weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I've seen
So
yeah,
anyways,
yeah.
they still managed to work it out, and it
Mhm.
got to a point where there was probably 30 toys left. I'm just guessing, but in that range, 20 to 30, I guess. So it got nobody wanted it. So Scott, I think they asked me if I want it for $5. I got the rest of the toys for $5. And Carl, do you know what else was in that lot? There was other things that did okay. A lot of it I had to throw out. There's two cars. They're lime green and green, and they're from Nintendo. And those are the
Oh,
cars. Those are the cars that I sold. I sold. They're going out today.
that's funny. We were
Yeah,
looking at Scott's sold pre-show. I think I don't think we talked about that on this show, but yeah, there are two cars there. So this is pretty good, and that came from that lot. So there you
yeah,
go.
and they're the size. Each is the size of a cell phone.
Yeah,
And if they had the driver, which
yeah.
is there's a monkey and a Luigi and a Mario, like they could have different. I think it's actually I think it's a version of Nintendo's King Kong, like Donkey Kong. I guess it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of where if you want to look it up, it'll be like lime green Donkey Kong. I think you'd have to put in there Nintendo cars. Anyway, they go for about $65. So I had two of them listed for 65, like 65 each, two listings. And the guy offered 32 if he bought them both, and I said yes, because it's like I got nothing into them. Just
Sometimes you just want it gone.
I just want it gone. Right, I'm happy with the sale. Things have been going good. Just keep the rhythm going. So he bought both of them, and I got $64. But that was out of that $5 toy lot, you know. And there's other stuff out of there. It's just like that's all I needed is those.
Nice.
Right?
That's nice. It doesn't always go that way. There's been some things I've just brought home, put in a donation bag, and took it to Valley Village too. It's like, why the hell did you buy this? For me, that was a bunch of bookends that were completely garbage. Like, what the hell did you buy this for?
Dude, it was so close that these were, I'm pretty sure I even had them at the store, at the booths. And I was going to put $5 a piece on them. And just because it said Nintendo, something told me to look them up. So I just did a Google lens on them. And I'm like, are you kidding me? These things?
That's part of the fun of this is when it goes.
And it's like,
we need a name for that. Is there a name for that?
I don't know. It's paranoia. Look everything up.
Well, yeah.
but if they have the little men, like a monkey, like I think the gorilla and then the Luigi or Mario, like I think if it has those, they're like $125. They're over, like they're at least $100, $125.
I've seen stuff like that, but not those ones. So yeah, that's great. That's the fun of it, right?
So yeah. So I mean, okay, the guy took a Micro Machines. There were probably $100 there, but
you'll beat yourself up about like things you missed out on forever, right?
Yeah, I'm not really. I'm just like, I just should have picked it up. I just don't know why I did it. It was that little spot in the center of my forehead that said, "Don't pick it up."
Well, let me put it this way: the Micro Machines I have are somewhere in my inventory. So,
well, I do have Micro Machines here. Like I do have some too somewhere in a box, but and I think maybe correct me on this. And here's another question too. I have two questions for you, Carl. We'll stay with Micro Machines for a second. Like most of them aren't worth a whole lot, right? Is that correct? So you're kind of like bulking them up.
I think it's like there's some valuable ones in there,
but for the most part, you're just selling them in a lot.
Well, that's what I think.
Okay, I think so too. That's what I kind of figured. However, if you had 30 of them, you could probably get $100 type thing.
Yeah, it's like just because something sells for cheap doesn't mean it's not good. Yeah. Like I bought a bunch of Pez, and I think I paid up almost maybe 75 cents to $1 each, which is too much. I paid too much. But out of the booth, I'll get $4 or $5, and I won't have to do anything. Just put them there. So it's like, yeah, that's not a huge profit margin, but they get attention, And then once in a while you sell like Smurfs. Like I sold a Smurf on the weekend for $7. That's not a lot of money, but I only spent like less than $1 on them.
Well,
right?
And you bring up a good point. This is something based on last week's show. We're sitting here talking about, $5 here, $2 here, $3 there, buy McDonald's toys or $5 a piece. But what we're talking about is selling them in the booth, or you can sell them in lots online, I'm sure. But we're talking about selling these things out of the booth, and we're not talking about getting rich. But
no.
But if you usually, when you pick up McDonald's toys, they're usually 50 to 100 in a box at a yard sale, shoved under the table, and someone collected them, and they just always kept them in their bag, and now they're trying to get rid of them. If you can buy them for $50 and you're getting 100 of them, they're $5 a piece in the store. So
That's
it's
what
not like
these
you're going to
pens
get
are about.
rich,
Yeah.
but let's do the math.
No,
If you get 100 at $5, that's
I
$500.
know. And the nice thing is you just put them in a pile. It's not
And
like
you
you're
just throw
like
them in a pile. They're
like
in a
these
box shoved under a table at your store.
like these Pez's I got, right? I'm doing very basic research on them, but they're nothing special. I knew that when I was bought them. I didn't think they were like
So
for
I just don't want people to think, oh, we're like going after the nickels and the dime stuff. That's not what we're talking about.
no.
We're talking about making $500, a $5 piece at a time, that sits in a little box shoved under a table where nothing else is going to sit. You just put a big tag on it, McDonald's toys, and people will pick through that like DVDs. But it's a lot. It's one box that's worth $500, but you're just going to piece it out at a time, right? So
Yeah, exactly. Or like
well,
I have a big display, a really nice display of Smurfs. It brings people in because they want to go look at the Smurfs. It's funny. So even though I'm not selling, I sold a Smurf house last weekend. I think I mentioned that, and Smurf this weekend. Like not big money, but at least it brings people in. So
yeah, and they don't take up much room. So that's
no,
kind of what we're talking
and they
about
don't
when
take
we're
up much
talking about
room. Yeah,
when we're talking about the $3 to $5 stuff. That's how we're selling it. It's not like we're making a living off it. It's just if you can buy something for $50 and sell it for 500, this is one of those things. You're just going to piece it out at a time. That's all.
yeah, and not much work. So
Now the other thing I had I wanted to talk about, and I've not sold these, but I have a ton of them. I, I I really do have a ton of them, and I need to get them listed. Is Waterman pens? I know they're valuable, but I don't know how to sell them properly. I don't know how to describe them.
yeah,
What if you have a crack in it? Is it still valuable? And I'm not talking about obviously, something with a gold nib is always going to have value just because of the gold nib, but like, wait, like how do you sell your Waterman pens?
I must admit I have some in a collection I need to get rid of, but I like online. If it's often it's pretty easy to find the model, and you can find solds. So the ones I have sold, I just sold for that, and asked
Do
a
you
reasonable
clean? Do
price.
you clean them?
No, I
Like
don't. I don't clean
sometimes they
anything.
have ink on them.
Oh, I might do some basic cleaning, but really, I'll just say needs cleaning, and they
Okay.
don't care, right? One person's really happy because like sometimes there's stuff in them that like a converter kits, but I won't,
What if
uh,
they had a crack in the like they screw on, right? So maybe if you twisted it too tight, I haven't, but I'll find like I know I have one with a crack up where it screws in. They probably put it too tight where it
yeah.
kind of cracked. Do you just
I,
describe that?
I would. I haven't sold any broken, but I like you. I do find them. There's the damage is not unknown with these for sure.
So do you now? I'm not talking about gold nibs. I'm talking about your regular nibs with the like. Would you sell? Okay, I got I don't know 5 or 10 Waterman pens shows damage like cracking and just kind of explain what kind of damage. But do you sell them as a lot? Would you do that,
Hmm.
or do you
I
still sell them individually?
hmm. I think it would. I think it would
Because you're
depend
kind
on
of looking at about 40, maybe $100, but you're looking at about 40 to $60 a pen. Is that right?
if they're damaged or not damaged because it's
Not damage, not
oh
damage.
not damaged because they can be hundreds like depending maybe not for Waterman like if you're talking about like what's the big one there
Well, I think Pelican's a big one. I like there's some German ones that I found that were
yeah.
pretty pricey that I have that I was
So
happy.
I love fountain pens. I used to find them on a regular basis, and now I don't. I think but people have always collected Waterman like pens. Fountain pens are highly collectible, right?
Yeah,
So
and people use them.
I've tried using them, and I just made a huge mess. But yeah, people do use them. Um, I don't feel I'm qualified to give your answers, but I think I would treat it like anything else. I'll look up the model, see
Yeah.
if any sold for parts and repair, and just see if what I can and put a fairly high price and just see what happens.
Okay.
Maybe with the best offer.
Okay.
I don't know if I lost. Like, do you? I don't. I wish I knew more, but
Dude, I'm telling you right now, without a lie, I probably have 50 Waterman, I fountain pens like Waterman. They might be, I don't know if Parker was one of them, but Pelican. but I probably have 50 of them, and
Yeah.
I've just not known how to list them. That's the problem.
I haven't listed one in a long time, but like I did have success when I listed them before. So it's just you know, it's like
And the gold
watches. It's like
and the gold nibs is like,
Schieffer
is
is
the
another
nib
one.
the value, or is like
No,
which, or is it the pen that's associated with
Mont
that
Blanc.
nib?
Yeah, Mont Blanc can go for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I think it's like the model numbers too, right?
Okay.
There's some beautiful, like some really beautiful
I
fountain
think
pens,
there's
like
like Eastbrook. Is that Canadian?
Eastbrook. I'm not sure. I
Or
don't
I think
know.
Waterman's Canadian, isn't it?
I'm not an expert on this. I should have done this for my Bolo, although I feel like I'm not qualified to talk about it at all. But
Well, you
fountain pens is definitely like watches, definitely something, and sunglasses is one of those things I feel I should know a lot more about, and
yeah.
I don't. Like maybe I should force myself to Bolo it, and then I'll learn it. I might give bad advice, but buyer beware out there who's listening to us for Bolos. But yeah, no, I wish I knew more. Like I have the same thing. I have a box over there full of mountain pens. Not full, but a good amount. And some of them are worth hundreds of dollars. And I just haven't dealt with it, right? So there's no excuse. I think yeah, I don't know what to say about it.
Okay. All right. So you
Bunch
don't
of nothing.
necessarily have to clean them, because someone who's going to buy
No.
it is probably going to clean it properly, and they're going to probably clean it after you cleaned it anyway. So why bother? Is that kind
Yeah,
of the idea?
yeah. I just want to like I'm not gonna if it's like they do get in covered, I have seen that. Like I will
Yeah.
clean that up.
Yeah.
Just a basic clean. But it's like anything here. I'm not gonna go super duper cleaning on anything
Right.
because I find it's not really I'm not patient. I won't do it.
Yeah, but
And I'll never
it's
list it.
not. It's better to lose $15 on the sale than to take 20 minutes to clean it, when you could list probably 5 of those pens in the 15 minutes. Really, like,
There's something to that. And if you don't care about getting every dollar out, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I got 50 of them. I'm not going to clean 50 pens. I'm hoping I don't have to. That's
That's what your son's for.
but I'm still paying him, right? So I'm losing money if I'm paying to clean something that long, and that properly.
Right.
I'd rather sell it. What's that?
We won't go back into that debate.
Yeah, he's got 5 minutes to clean this pen.
Yeah, whipped.
Perfect. You go over that, it's too long.
I want
There's too much
perfect cleaning. I want perfect pictures.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. You got 2 minutes.
Yeah. Other than that, it's not worth it. But yeah. So okay. As long as you don't clean them and you've sold them, that's probably how I'm going to list them. Anybody who has a comment on that with the fountain pens, let me know, because that's something I got to get to soon too. They don't take up any room storage, so they're really something you can put away and forget about.
It's a magic like thing to sell because it's like lightweight, highly valuable, highly collectible. There's demand, and you can find them. I haven't found any in a while, but probably because I'm not looking in the right places. It's just, with a little knowledge is good enough, right? Like yes, you might have to pay up in cases, but sometimes it's probably worth it. But yeah, it's one of those categories I just haven't touched. Like we should research. I'm not gonna just say I'm gonna do it because I won't do it. So
okay.
I don't trust
All right.
myself.
So that was just a question I had. I've been meaning to ask probably the last 3 episodes on that, because
I bet you there's people listening who have like 1,000 times, like even the people who just comment know more than we do about fountain pens. So I feel like I'm kind of like,
oh yeah, like I know nothing about anything. I just kind of one of those jack of all trade, master of none type situations. Like I kind of can identify things that might have value, but I don't necessarily have the experience selling them. I just have the experience picking them.
the danger of
But anyway, so I found one that I don't know where I put it, but it'll be with a bunch of other things. But I bought for $10 a map case. It was for World War II. It was a German, had the name in it and everything. And I sold that, I think, $150 for the map case. But it was filled with a bunch of pens, including fountain pens and pencils, and they were all old pencils and stuff, which pencils can have good values too.
Yeah, that was one of my early big finds as pencils. Yeah.
So I got to find those. They're all together. But that one fountain pen, just the clip that clips on the shirt, the clip part, you know how you can clip it onto your shirt?
Yeah.
That was selling. It was in the head, the so you know how it goes down to a straight and it usually has Park or something on it. Well, this one was in the shape of a snake. It had a
Oh
snake head.
wow.
And it was worth $60 just the clip.
Wow. I
So
believe it.
yeah, so it was a German fountain pen, and this guy would have been a he would have been like a surveyor for the Nazi army, you know. So it's just crazy. Um. So
Yep.
anyway, um, anything else you want to add to this overlong show?
Well,
We're about
let's
to
see.
still have
Yeah, no, I think that's it. I like it's been well, we only recorded a few days ago. Well, it feels like it anyways.
yeah.
So not much has happened, and I'm sure not I can't think of anything else. It's been fine, it's been good. I'm looking forward to putting my sale back online just to, get back into it, and
Yeah.
I got my drafts ready, and yeah, that's it. Like it's that time of year, right?
Yep.
And January is one of the busiest times too, right? So for Q4, the people at the flea market already warned me, like at least at the flea market, January's dead. So we'll see how
For
it compares
for
to.
January?
That's what they said. So we'll
Oh my
see.
gosh, January is usually one of my better months.
Online for me, it's one of my best months. But we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I'm really glad I like the people. Otherwise, this would really suck.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if I hated the people around me and I had to go in and
Oh, well,
that
you'd
would
be
not
out.
be
You would have been out of there already, Carl.
yeah. Okay, so are we ready for the next segment?
Well, we're hitting our favorite segment of the show. Well, no, we what are we at now, Carl? I forgot about it.
Bolo of
Of
the
the week.
week.
All right, Carl. So Bolo of the week. What's your Bolo of the week, Carl?
So for all my fans out there, we're gonna do Skylanders. Okay.
Skylanders.
Now for all you MFers out there who said there's no value in these things, I just checked and they're still valuable. Okay. I haven't picked up any in a while.
Dude, you know so much about Skylanders, you could probably write a book on them.
I have a book in front of me, thankfully,
That you wrote?
that I wrote.
I
Just to
honestly,
remind
dude,
myself.
I think you could probably make a ton of money selling that book.
I don't want to tell. It's a secret. See, this is what happens if you listen to this here first.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna get this done and over with because
All right,
I love
all
the Bolo of the week. So when I'm gonna talk about Skylanders, and for God's sake, not all Skylanders, okay? So the basic rule with Skylanders, if it's colored on the bottom, if it's blue, orange, green, whatever, in general, avoid those. Okay.
Yep.
What I'm talking about is the ones usually they have a black octagon base, and they're from the series called Imaginators. Okay, and they're much bigger than the normal, not huge, but they're bigger than the sizes you used to see.
So what? Say this again. I'm going to see a colored base, like bottom.
Non-colored. So like if you see the common ones,
Yeah.
they have a see-through transparent base.
Yeah.
It's like orange and green and blue.
Those are worthless.
Well, this is the first rule. Okay, so
Okay.
this is basically there are some ones in there, and I'm going to mention them. I'm just saying that in general, those are the ones that have no real value.
Okay.
Okay. What I'm talking about is Imaginators, which is there's different series of Skylanders, and these are the Imaginators. They have a fairly they're bigger figures, and they have an octagon for a elongated octagon for a base, and they're not going to have that transparent colored plastic on the bottom. Okay. And, as a quick rule, there's some common ones. But you are going to see a lot, which still sell 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, $300 for these Imaginators. Okay.
$300?
Yeah. Plus,
Wow.
I double checked
US or
myself.
Canadian?
American, actually.
Wow.
But those are rare, right? It's like anything. But in general, like there's two of them that I avoid. One is like this falcon with a octagon base, and another one is this kind of golden lady, because there are some common ones, right?
Okay.
But if you ever see like a wizard, like who has a staff with like a little goblin on the end and a goblin in his other hand, like that sells for $700,
Really?
right? And I have found other ones that are worth like 30, 40, 50 American each, and still
So
worth good money.
these are made of plastic, or are they like?
Yeah,
Can
they're
they be?
plastic,
They're all plastic, eh?
right? They're also called Sensei, Sensei.
Okay.
Now, like I would like to say, get this and this and this, but basically, if you see them, I think it's worth learning them if you see them on a regular basis. Okay. They're not, some are going to be worth 20, 40, 30. But for me, when I've picked them up in the past, I got them fairly cheap. And like I said, there are ones worth hundreds of dollars. They're too varied for me to say, look for this, look for that. Like one of the guy has a bow, and he can be really valuable if you have the right variants, because there's also variants on this stuff just to make it more interesting.
Okay.
Now,
so does a variant look the same and
the
do
same,
something different, or do they look?
yeah, it's the same except they have different, might have different color patterns, right?
Okay.
Because there will be the guy with a staff and the other guy in his hand, and you might be worth like 30, right? So you have to be. I'm just saying this. I think this is worth learning.
Yeah.
Now, so here's some examples. And I just checked one. Like for the color bases, if you're willing to learn this, there are some good ones out there. So one's called Doomstone, and he has a blue transparent base. So he's like, the exception to the rule. And he has a little like club above his head and a shield. And he still sells for 40 American. I just double checked, and he's still selling for 30 to 40 American, or at least Canadian.
Now would Doomstone be like written on the bottom or
anywhere? No. Google Lens is your friend here.
Okay.
And like I said, if you're going to use this as an excuse just to buy any Skylander with a colored base, you're going to be in trouble, because the reason these are valuable is because they're rare.
Yeah.
There's one called Double Trouble worth 50, Breeze Mini 70, there's some for Donkey Kong, and I have picked up those, and I have 45 bucks here. I'm not sure if it's still 45 bucks, might be 35 bucks by now, but it's like Donkey Kong throwing a barrel and his little car, but it has to be the dark variant.
Okay.
Right. So 45. I know it's kind of vague out there, but
no, that's good. That's a good base. That's a good base to start with.
I'll pipe in maybe in future episodes if I can think of something else. But like I haven't found them in a while. Like I will see them at. The problem is you'll see them at the Value Villages, but they've overvalued them recently. It's like someone told them they're worth money, and they put them all like at expensive money. So it's very annoying. You'll see these creator crystals, which are these little kind of mini cylinders of them. And if you get a lot, like looking here, there's a lot of 9, including the light and dark one, which is rare, which I find on a regular basis, and they sold for 106 American. So, in my opinion, it's worth knowing as much as people like to make fun of it. The problem is there's so many that are completely worthless, right?
Right.
And people will just remember the worthless. Like I bought a big lot, and like I couldn't even get $1 off of them. I think someone even maybe in the threads talked about that. But I tell you, if you look in Skylanders and look used, there's still good ones out there. Even the portals I've sold for 20 or 30 bucks, if it's the right portal, which is this base that they kind of sit on. So,
okay.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's my Bolo of the week.
I like it. So you're looking for an elongated octagon dark base, non-transparent.
Yeah, it can be black or blue on the sides. It's just that it looks so different than the regular Skylanders that they stick out, and they're bigger. They're probably twice the size of a normal Skylander.
All right. Very good. I will be on the lookout. I see them all the time, but I just don't know nothing about them. So
yeah, the color-based ones, even I probably wouldn't recognize the rare ones, except for Doomstone, because I've picked him up a few times. And I know some of there's these, like I said, the crystals. Some of that stuff I actually will recognize. And I've made lots of there's this dark and light lot that if you have the tower, the crystal, and the figure, they can be worth 30 or 40 bucks. I have to look. It's been a while, but And I used to find them on a regular basis, but like I said, around here at least, they seem to have like decided that these things are valuable. It's like at one store I go to, they decided that teacups are worth a lot of money, and they were asking 40, 50, 60 bucks for like just plain Jane teacups because they had heard they were valuable, which is very frustrating, right? So yeah, so here's a lot. Yeah, $100, 75 bucks. So if you had the right combo, anyways,
No,
what's
very
your
good.
bolo of the week?
My bolo of the week. So it's going to be kind of encompassed in a bunch of things, but my bolo of the week is going to will be like suits. So
Suits.
not your suit and tie suits, but your okay, let's put it this way. A couple years back, I bought a race car IndyCar driver suit. It was sponsored by Labatt's, and it was from the 80s. And how I got that is the guy worked for Labatt's Brewing Company, who sponsored a Canadian Indy 500 driver, IndyCar driver, race car driver, and he had donated one of his suits for like an auction within the company or something. So this guy ended up getting it and sold it. I think he wanted 50 for it, and I think I got it for 30, but I sold it for like $400 or $500.
Oh wow.
I also have a motorbike suit. Now it was all leather. It was a 2-piece where it zipped around the waist so you can put it into one piece. I just sold that for $260. I had $300 on it. I've talked multiple times about the flight engineer suits. There was 3 there, but it's all about the patches and different things like that. I also have some snowmobile suits from the 80s. Now they're older, but they have Ski-Doo patches, or they have different patches on them. So I think I have $100 on it. I had a lot of watchers. I think that's kind of where I'm at, but I'm going to talk about my bolo of the week is when you go to yard sales and you see these suits, especially if they're vintage and they have funky looks to them. I mean, not that the flight engineer had funky looks, but they had the old patches. They had the RCAF patches and all that, flight engineer and all that kind of stuff. So I think it was I'm going to say like $350 for each of them in that area.
So these are like, when you say suits, they're like onesies?
Well, yeah. So the pilot ones, like the flight engineer, was a 1-piece zip up suit. The snowmobile suits were one, but the biker one, the motorcycle one, you could go check my store out now and see it in the sold section. It is 2 pieces, or you can make it 1 piece because it had a zipper, a heavy duty zipper that went all around it joined the pants to the jacket.
Right.
So you can wear it as a 1.
Yeah.
Or you can unzip it and just wear the jacket.
Okay.
I don't think you're just going to wear the pants, but they had leather stitched flame designs on them and everything.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty cool. I probably undersold it, to be honest. It's probably like a $400 suit, but the problem with that one is it was a small. So if it was like a large or an extra large, I would have totally got $500 for it for sure, because they were just sold to more people. But I mean, you don't see them often, but dude, that was a 1985 NASA, like a IndyCar race car driver. He was a professional driver. Like, I saw that at a yard sale. You don't know how people get these things.
How does it get there?
Right? How does it get there? But nobody was buying it, dude. It was hanging there. Maybe it was because it was Labatt's Blue. I don't know. I like Labatt's Blue. I'm okay with it. But
how much did they want?
$50. I got it for
maybe that was why. Because people were funny, eh?
50, like, dude. I sold that sucker for
wait. People are funny when they go to garage sales. I refuse to pay more for $10 for anything.
Yeah,
right? No matter what valuable something is, right?
Yeah, I would have paid $100 for it. I was jumping all over that thing. It was cool. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But in all fairness to the smaller people out there, a lot of times these race car drivers, the flight engineer guy was.
Oh yeah.
Now they're not going to wear the flight engineer suit, but he was a very small, petite guy, right?
Oh
So
yeah, the same with tanks. Like they had to get smaller guys to fit in the tanks,
yeah,
and they also had to get smaller guys to fit like road horse jockeys have to be smaller too,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
So yeah,
So these IndyCar guys, like they're lighter, so it helps the car move faster. You know, so it's gonna be most of the time it's gonna be smaller anyways. The bike suits could have been bigger. It just because anybody can drive a motorbike for But this guy messaged me. He was so happy. I took the 260, and he's gonna buy it as a Christmas gift for himself. But even vintage snowmobile suits, sell too, right? Like I get a lot of people watching it, but I just listed it not too long ago, but it'll have snowmobile on it. And sometimes they don't even. Now I'm going to digress slightly to this one, but I also sold a jacket, and it was from the 50s. It was from Korea. It was reversible. So one side is green velvet, the other side was a silk, um, or a satin or a silk. Uh, and it had like where the seams were coming apart.
yeah,
So those jackets go $500 or $600. I listed mine for $350, and I just put needed repair. It didn't have a zipper, right? It had the zipper teeth, but it didn't have the little pull tab for the zipper. And I said it needed that. I said in the title, in the top main title, I put in brackets needs repair,
yeah.
and then I specified that in the description. Uh, it had a little bit of a stain on the thing. Dude, that thing sold. That was probably the quickest thing that sold. It sold within 5 to 10 minutes of listing it.
Wow.
Yeah, like I listed it. I went and did just a couple things down here. Boom, 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 boom. Like, and it sold for $350, no problem. So
Where did he go to USA or?
it went to the U.S. Yeah,
Yeah.
but those were during the Korean War. People were in Korea. They would have brought them back in the
Mm.
50s, right?
Oh, neat.
They would have brought them back. So they're actually in the description. People were calling them military because the military guys were bringing them back. So, which is kind of like your Hummels. You don't put military in Hummels, but a lot of times in World War II, the Hummels got popular because the soldiers were bringing them back,
Yeah.
right, or sending
Yeah.
them as gifts to their family. But so that's not really included in this whole thing. All I'm saying is that even if it needs repairing, just put repair. Just explain what it is, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's
so
different.
anyway, those were cool. I actually had a conversation with somebody. I was at my booth, and he came by, and he goes, just started talking to me, and he said, "You're the guy that had those flight engineer suits over there on the next booth," because I've now changed my booth to a different location. I said, "Yeah," and he goes, "Those were the coolest things I ever saw."
Mm.
He goes, I took photos of them, and he belonged to a face group of military collectors, and he goes, that created
A
such
buzz.
a buzz.
Yeah.
Everybody was, talking about coming and buying them and all this other kind of stuff, but they sold very quickly. Um, and he goes, those are probably the coolest things. I said, yeah, I had 3 of them. I only took 2 there, and I give him the whole story. But one guy bought all 3. I said, just to give you a little bit of background, he collects flight suits and the older ones and stuff like that. He has a collection, including some from Snowbirds, which is a Canadian military flying squadron, I guess you call it. Anyway, and when he passes away, he has it in his will that these are all going to be donated to the museum. So they're going to end up in a good home. Just so you guys know that they're not just being, because he kind of like they take their stuff serious, right? So they want to make sure stuff gets to a good location, right?
They don't want it rotting in someone's basement that gets flooded and then it's like destroyed kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, or in a landfill.
Oh, well then, yeah.
Right?
Same. Yeah.
So, but anyways, you just never know what you're going to find. But a lot of people passed up the driver suit. Like I said, this was probably noonish when I saw it, and
You
it was
get your
hanging
eyes
up.
open. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was at a yard sale. It was a private pick where I saw the flight engineer suits, and it was at a yard sale when I saw the bike suit.
Yeah.
I did pay $50 for that, and she wouldn't go any lower. I think she wanted 60. She might have went to 50, but regardless, I paid $50 for that suit, but sold it for 260. You know
Wow.
what I mean? So they're out there and they're cheaper.
So you're saying in this sort of stuff, you wouldn't care so much about the size because it's almost more about it's not like anyone's going to wear this stuff. They're going to display it, right?
Well, for the most part, I mean, the motorcycle suit,
Motorcycle suits are different. Yeah.
yeah, because he's going to wear it. But dude, I'm telling you, this was not your normal suit. It had like leather flames that were separate and sewn onto the suit. It
Yeah.
had like a bird had dropped an egg from the sky, and he had an egg, like it was a leather. It looked like an egg, and it was on his shoulder, like a bird had dropped an egg on it.
Well, egg is better than other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's right. Eh? And then it had a couple of funky designs to it, and it was a nice blue. I mean, it really looked like very cool. Like it looked
Yeah.
interesting. So he's probably a small guy. It's going to Quebec too, so it's staying in Canada. But yeah, so hopefully he sends me a picture of him driving with it on the bike. That would be cool.
Yeah,
Right?
that would be cool.
But anyway, so that's going out today. Actually, it's all ready to go. It's all parceled up. So I would look for suits. Look for interesting suits with patches and stuff on them.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was Bolo.
I will tell you this one story though, Carl.
Okay. Okay.
And it's one that had an interesting patch to it. It was just a jacket. So maybe I'll do jackets. I'll tie them all together. But this guy, I might go knock on his door. Like, dude, I was so upset. So it had a big circle patch on the side, on the chest. And this guy was in the military, the Canadian military, and he was stationed he was stationed way up north in the Arctic. Like it is, I think he said it was the farthest north that the military goes. And it's just a little station, and he was put there. And it had the name of it and everything. And I knew it was something special. But what happened was I go to the yard sale, I go around, they didn't have much, and I see this jacket, I grab it, and I ask the woman how much. She said $5. I said, no problem. Perfect, right? I don't know what it's worth, but it's got to be at least $100. Like, no, it was probably worth, it was probably something, honestly, I get $5, $6, maybe $1,000 for, because they're that rare. But I didn't know it at the time. So I'm walking around with it. I should have bought it and left. I should have ran. I should have ran to my truck and squealed out of there.
Uh-oh.
Yes. And the husband comes out. So I think the daughter went in and said, listen, mom's selling your jacket for $5, right? So he comes back out and he looks and he sees me holding the jacket. He goes, no. That's not for sale. It's not for sale. He goes, this is, and I said, well, what do you want for it? He goes, I'm not selling it. He goes, this is too personal. It shouldn't be out here. So he took it.
Oh, so you have an example of bad things happening in garage sales. At least you didn't pay for it and then they took it back.
Yeah. And it's not like, it's just, it's one of those things that shouldn't have been out there, I guess, but I would have loved to have gotten it. So I told somebody about it, and he knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I don't know what I'm talking about. But he said that you never see that. Like, military guys would love that. So I'm assuming I get about $500-$600, maybe even more. Like, if I put it up for auction, it maybe, who knows, right? So,
wow.
But he was stationed up there, and it was from the 70s, and it was awesome. So there it is.
Cool.
So, anyways, Carl, what time is it now?
Time for comments.
Time for comments. All right.
Do you want to pause it here for a second?
Sure.
Did you
here? No. So there's not on Spotify. So usually we record this on a Wednesday and we edit it and upload it for the Friday. But because Christmas is on Wednesday, we're doing this on a Monday. So that's probably why we haven't seen any comments. So what I'll do next week's show, if someone commented between now and Friday, because this isn't going to be loaded up until Friday, but it's almost a week away, right? Like, it's still quite a ways away. So it's a little bit, out of ordinary, but I'll read comments from last week's episode and from this episode on the next show. So if you ended up listening to this and you say, "Oh, I did a comment," well, it didn't get read on Spotify because, well, it's just not there. But if you do your comments between Monday and Wednesdays, it's good. You know what I'm saying, Carl? Am I saying that right? I feel like I just lost in translation here, but anyways, it will get read. We'll just have to do it the next show.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you want to do the first one, or do you want me to?
You can start.
Okay. So this is all on YouTube, and the first one I have here is Doing It Wrong. And Doing It Wrong says, doing it right, doing it wrong. That was 90% why I picked the name. 20%, I'm always right. Wow. Well, that makes sense. Every time I hear or about to say I'm doing it right or doing it wrong, first person I think about is doing it wrong. So
exactly.
All right.
Okay. So next one from Lee Phillips. Hi, Scott and Carl. Thank you for sharing your podcast and daily adventures each week. Listening here in Wales, UK. Have a fabulous Christmas and New Year. Oh, thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you too, Lee.
And Merry Christmas, Lee. And Lee's got a Instagram. I'm pretty sure I think it's just his name. I'll double check if that's different. I'll give him a shout out next week on it. But I'm pretty sure it's Lee Phillips. But he collects some, or I'm going to say resells. He shows some really interesting items as well. So you check out his Instagram. And so he's a reseller as well. And thanks for you have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And thanks for the comment. All right. So Nova Scotia Celt. This is Randy saying, "Hey, Scott and Carl. I always think in Canadian dollars. I paid in Canadian dollars, and that's where I live." Wow. Yeah. I always think Canadian dollars as well. However, Carl does sell on .com, which is something I'm considering doing as well.
You know, the funny thing, though, is that recently they kind of fixed their app and now everything's showing in Canadian dollars, whether I want it to or not. So I'm actually switching back to thinking in Canadian dollars, which is more profitable. It has higher numbers because of the conversion rate. So it's kind of funny. But anyways, yes.
So, sorry, you were thinking about changing it back?
Well, no, the app, when I use the app out in the field, I could trick it to think I was in the United States. But now I find it reverts back to Canadian all the time. So I just gave up fighting it. So now I'm actually, the reason I did that is I cared about seeing what people paid for shipping.
Yeah.
But I understand that a bit more now that it's more hidden than you might think. Anyways, I won't go into it. But basically I've had to switch back into Canadian thinking a little bit. So I'm mixed. I'm between the two, which is very annoying.
All right. I see Jamie Thrift on Fire, YouTuber Thrift on Fire. He's switched over to .com, and I think he recommends it. So, I think doing well with it.
I think it's 90% or 80% of our sales are to the United States, and I think they don't like seeing the conversion when they go to buy. If they see United States dollars there, it makes them more comfortable, and let's be honest, that they are our main customers.
Yeah, they're. I think I've said 75%, but it's probably closer to 90% of what I sell goes to them.
Yeah.
All toy soldiers have all gone to the U.S. I've not sold one toy soldier to Canada.
It's a bigger market, and shipping is cheaper to the United States than it is to Canada.
And a lot of it is Civil War, the American Revolution. It's kind of American-themed stuff. Yeah. But even the Viking stuff, it all went there. 1 second here, Carl. Something just popped up on my screen to buy for my computer. Okay, so we'll continue on with Randy. I never checked tracking, well, except for one incident where I sold 3 comics to Los Angeles for $800. Nice. And did not pay extra insurance. Watched it in progress every day until it arrived. So I don't. So first of all, I do check tracking every now and then. I just do it. I don't know. It's just kind of habit. I don't know if I really Like, I don't think I do it so much intentionally because I feel relieved to do it. I think it's more of like, let's just see where something's going if I'm just kind of clicking on the computer. I do not buy insurance. What about you? Do you do the insurance thing?
No, because like for here, it only covers up. Like when I looked into it, only covers up to like 100 or $200 or something. And usually end up buying insurance for things that low anyway, so I didn't worry about it.
Well,
And it's not going to cover if it gets damaged, I think. So it's like it really is covering if it gets lost or something. I don't even know. So I just didn't worry about it.
so in the past, well, I guess now I see it quite a bit where it comes up. Do you want extra insurance because this exceeds? So basically, everything's shared up to $100. But if you pay like an extra thing in insurance, so I'm kind of agreeing with Randy because he didn't pay for it either. But everybody knows how it works. I just find that I've never had an issue. So if it's like $4, like by the you insure 10 things at $4, it's $40. If nothing goes missing, you just waste. You know what I mean? So by the time you actually get your money out of something going wrong, you probably paid triple what the item cost to begin with.
The way I figured, if they have insurance and they're charging you, they have to make a profit. So insurance is basically to make yourself feel better if something potentially big goes wrong. And for me, like $800 is a lot, but most of my sales are like, less than $200 for sure. I'm not going to freak out. I won't like it, but it's not the end of the world if I don't get $200.
What do you probably have in that $800?
Yeah, well, that's
maybe $100 at most.
Maybe 100.
You get your $100 back.
Yeah,
right. So
I'm not worried about it.
But
I would be. If I sold something for $800, I'm watching the tracking.
Yeah, I'm watching the tracking.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy bought over $4,000 worth of stuff, but one shipment was $2,000. I didn't get insurance on it, and it was $2,000 going to California.
Living on the edge.
But watched the progress every day till it arrived. Then sweated bullets for 60 days when no feedback was received.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah.
The best is getting feedback on expensive things right away. You're like, yeah.
Regarding pickers who do not make any money, they definitely exist. Yeah, they definitely exist for sure, without question. Know some that set up at yard sales and flea markets that barely cover the cost of the table, and they have been doing it for decades. The guys who are successful are selling the scraps and leftovers from past. So, do you see more?
See more what?
It says from past. I don't see any more.
Okay, the guys, yeah, I do. The guys who are successful are selling.
It doesn't even say more here. Okay, sorry, go on.
The guys who are successful are selling the scraps and leftovers from past deals on their table, like cold potatoes after they have already eaten the T-bone steak. Try to relax. Oh, and then that's it. Try to relax. Maybe that was the end of the comment from what I can see. So, yeah, like that's kind of the way I was seeing it too. Is like, so for example, what did I put up? Like if I don't know, the Pez, I have all these Pez in value $5 to $10, or Smurfs. $5 to $10 each. The really valuable ones, like $20-$30 American Plus, I'm gonna put those online. So it's not like necessarily the scraps, but a lot of it is kind of like I'm not gonna get the value I want out of the really good stuff at the flea market, but there's still value in the scraps. So like the guys who I'm just gonna repeat, the guys who are successful are selling the scraps and leftovers from past deals at the table. So yeah, that's probably a lot of it. I'm trying to get into that mindset, and
so you can still have other options, like you can put them in. Like I just find there's always ways to get rid of stuff. There's always ways to sell stuff. I like having a booth because it gives me different options. But I'm also fortunate that the booth is doing. It's a good store. Like because I've been to 3 now, and you know what, the others were good. They were run by good people. It's just this one seems to have the most traffic, and it is the bigger, and it kind of makes more sense. Bigger meaning not only the store, but also I have 3 booths, and it also makes financially, it's making good sense. But it gives me options to get rid of stuff. But you can also do flea market stuff or do shows, which I plan on doing throughout the spring and the summer. Do a show that's 2 a year. And you could put it in local online auctions. Like there's different ways to get rid of your stuff.
There's options, yeah.
So find out what's best for you. And I'm not telling people what to do. I mean, you do what you want to do, but that works. That's working well for me.
Yeah, and Randy's giving good advice here too, or good observations that he's seen. The guys who are successful are selling the scraps and leftovers from past deals at their table. So, yeah, and we have seen the people buying things for 40 and then selling them for 50. I see that too sometimes. That doesn't work out very well.
They're not doing things wrong. They're doing it.
It depends on what your goal is.
They're in it for a different purpose, right?
Some people just want antique stores. They want museums,
or they just want they want museums. But sometimes they're there for reason like people go fishing or hunting or go for a drive or go like they're just it's something for them to do. They enjoy doing that. It's not like they're there to make a living. They're doing it because they enjoy it. I personally couldn't do it in my position. However, if I worked full time and I wanted something to do on the weekend, I can totally do that,
Yeah.
So, I'm not putting down people. I guess what I'm saying is if people do that, that's fine with them. I don't have a problem with them doing it. They're there for a different purpose. Okay, so I'll go on with doing it wrong. Good luck with your private pick, Carl. Or trick for picks.
Trick
for picks.
Our trick for picks.
Like that is to make a pile. Don't ask the prices until you have everything you want in a big ugly pile. Once it and kind of hide the good stuff, like kind of make it look like it's crap. Once that was my little input there. So you want a big ugly pile. Once it's all in one big blob of stuff, it's easier to just throw a round number instead of both of you doing the math. 100%, 1000%. Like that's it there. Because if you see, I don't know, $5,000 worth of stuff and you throw out $500, $500 to them is for stuff they want to get rid of is like, wow, yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's how they're going to look at it, right? So,
yeah.
But if you just want to pay, you don't want to pay more than $500 for whatever reason, throw out $300, throw out $250.
Yeah,
it just depends. It depends. Like there's a lot of little stuff here. It'll take a while to throw them in my store or whatever. That's kind of what's going on in your head. But I'm looking at about $250 here. They're going to come up. They're going to say $250, or they're going to say yeah. But that's the situation where I would want to throw the number out first. You've already got an idea what they're looking at because you've in the first couple pieces. So let me just see. I think you said don't ask for prices. I might ask for prices for the first couple things just to gauge where they're at. I'm not saying that's the right way to do it. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, because they're going to take you around and show you different things in the house. They're going to say, oh, well, this was my ceramic Christmas tree given to me by my mother for Christmas or something. Well, is that for sale? Or you're going to see it because you're walking by it. And it's like, is that for sale? Well, it could be. Well, what are you thinking on that? I don't know, $10. Then you're going to say cha-ching because it's a ceramic Christmas tree that you're going to get 50 to 150 for, depending on how big it is and stuff. But if they're saying, oh, like I'd let that go for $10, now you're like, okay, we don't need to ask more prices because we're pretty much know what we got. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if they're saying, wow, I know that they're very expensive, now you got to kind of like figure it out. You know what I mean? Okay, well, let's come back to that later. Or okay, that's a little bit out of what I was thinking, but yeah. So I'm not saying doing it wrong, saying it wrong, because I've done it that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to kind of get a feel for what they're thinking, because if she shoots out a number that is absolutely low, like, okay, I'm making a huge pile. I'm making Mount Everest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but
I
but
I'll
sometimes they'll have value in some things, but then other things that you want, they might not care. So
no.
you kind of make a big ugly pile is 100% right. But sometimes if I'm if I'm out at a private pick, I kind of want to know where they're thinking at first
Mm.
and go from there. So I might gauge it by a couple things, but it's the same all the time, but it's kind of a little bit different too because you're just trying to feel each other out. They're trying to feel you out as well, right? So you're just trying to see where they're at. Is this somebody that has looked everything up ahead of time? Well, I just looked that up and I know that it goes for $100 on eBay, or something like that. Or if they're just like I don't know, I didn't even think anybody'd be interested in that. I'd $10, and I'd
Yeah.
be like, okay, no, I wouldn't say 100%. I would say, yeah, that sounds about right. So I think I could do that, you know.
Okay.
And what else, let's see what else you got, and then once that's all done, then get into like if you have anything in boxes and like someplace where it's hard to get or something, I can come back. Or if you need help getting it down or something like out of a loft or an attic or something, like I don't mind climbing up there too, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm kind of digressing, but I'm 1,000% agreeing with doing it wrong. I think there's just a little bit. Sometimes I might ask for the first couple things just to kind of get an idea of where
Where
we
they
are.
are. Yeah.
But you can also get that by like, listen, we're moving in a week. I need this stuff gone. Then
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't ask for prices. I would just make a big ugly pile for sure, right? Because I know they're desperate to get it gone. Scenarios that I've experienced. So what are you thinking? $40? Oh no, that's way too low. So 41? Dude, you play around with it. Don't be afraid to play around with it like that. Like it's hard to be both buyer and seller. Like,
I know, right? But
you want me to throw it a no? I throw $40 here. What are you thinking? Like,
I already have a feeling for this one. Like, I know this is like each scenario is different, so I have
okay.
a feeling it's going to be what's it worth? What's it worth? And it's like, I don't know. I
Well,
won't know,
yeah,
right?
I mean, because it could be worth. It's worth different. Like,
I
I
know,
mean,
I
what
know,
do
I
you
know.
mean? What is it worth? Like, it's worth whatever someone's willing to pay for it. I'm making a guess here. I don't know what people are going to pay for it. I can just make an educated guess on my experience, what I think I can pay for it.
Yeah.
So, what it's worth to me might be different from 10 other people. Might have different opinions of what it's worth. But, um, so okay, so scenario of experience. So what are you thinking? $40? Oh no, that's way too low. So 41? like like I would say in that situation too, like, okay, is there something I'm not knowing the value in? Like,
Mm.
where do you see value here? Like, throw that at them. Like, where do you see the value here? Am I missing something? Because I don't know the
Yeah.
value of everything. I'm gonna take I find this stuff unique and interesting, but I have to go home and look it up. Maybe I'm missing something here. Like, where do you see that value here? Because I just don't see it.
I had that
And
happen. Yeah.
but ask them that.
Mm.
Like, come out
Mm.
and just say, like, where am I missing here? Like, well, this jacket here is $100. Okay, so would you do 40 if I took that jacket out?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't see that in that jacket. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't have experience on that jacket. If you're saying it's $100 or whatever, then okay, so take that out. Is 40 good for this then? Because you've taken that out now, and then say yes, and just say, well, if you're saying that jacket's worth 100, like, I'll throw in another $30 for that jacket. You know what I mean? If you think that jacket's 100 as well, Carl.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because now you've just paid 40 plus 30 or like a $70, but you sell that jacket, you get your money back for everything. That's how you're playing it in your head. So I don't mind getting that jacket, and I've just got the rest of the stuff for my price.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
throw it around like
I
that.
think it'll come with experience. Like, it's kind of hard for me to know all
And
the
every
things.
scenario is different, so I can't just sit here. Okay,
No.
in this situation,
Just
this
what
is
do you
what
do? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
I
Like,
should get one of those like little like wireless earpieces, and you could just go into my ear, and you could be watching through like my phone, and just like Carl, that thing over there. she's asking too much.
Or like, honestly, if that scenario with a jacket or any, it could be any item. I'm just throwing out a jacket. Well, I know that jacket's worth at least $100. Well, just say I'm not disagreeing with you. Let's okay. So now you've got the rest of the stuff for 40. So okay, well, what are you thinking on the jacket? Like, do you want 20? So that's going to be $60 in total. And then she'll go, well, at least 50. And I'm going to say, like, listen, like, I'm losing 30% on the sale right off the bat. So if I give you 30%, I sell it, lose 30%. I'm making 30%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody asks for 10% off. There's another 10% off. So now we're at $100 for that jacket. Like, the best I can do is $30. If you want $70 for everything with the jacket, I'm willing to do that. Otherwise, I'll just do the 40 for this year. They're probably going to throw it in because now they hear $70, right? So you're playing with it like that. That's all. So he's going on. So 41. Oh, sorry. How about 60? 60 done. If they go high because of the one item, as how much without that? Oh, okay. That's what he's saying right there. Okay. Yeah, perfect. So if they go high because of the one item, as how much without the one item, sometimes they'll rethink the value of it too. That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah, I should have read the whole thing. Sorry about that.
It's funny because it's being cut off for me too. I don't see a lot of what you're just talking about. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird how that works. I don't know what's going on with YouTube with some of these comments, but anyway, I think that's everything. And it says show less. So,
I see.
So anyways, doing it wrong 100% is, yeah, I should have read the whole thing before I rambled on my little stint, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I guess it just shows that we're both on the same wavelength. And that's how it's done, right? Like, I did an episode, I think it was on Scott Sell stuff.
Yeah.
Where I kind of mentioned, like, we're the professional picker. Like, you have all the experience. And I mean, you can take professional to however degree you want. But what I'm saying is, you've gone out there and you've done this 1,000 times. You've gone to yard sales. You've negotiated to some degree. You've done estate picks or private picks, sales, all the kind of stuff. You have the knowledge of what the items are for the most part, or what is sellable, and you've got all that years of experience as a weapon, for lack of a better word. They're doing this for the first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you've got to outplay that. In some cases, you don't have to. They just want to get rid of it, man. It's like, you know, if it's going in the garbage, or I'm going to donate to this to Goodwill if you don't take it today. You know what I mean? They don't care.
Yeah.
But in some cases, you have to really be creative and try to negotiate and get around it. Use your experiences, use your knowledge, and I think some people are stubborn too. Don't get me wrong; it doesn't work every time. Some people are just really stuck on the price. Like, I had a guy. He had his wife had passed away, and he had a bunch of Royal Daltons that belonged to her. Like, he wanted $30 a piece minimum. I think he wanted $50 a piece. I got him to 30, and I said, dude, I can't do more than 20. I said, these do not sell like they used to. Yeah. I said, I will buy them all for $20 a piece, but I can't do more than that. I said, I don't think they're worth more than $45 to $60. There might be one or two in there that are like super rare or something, but for the most part, I'm looking at about $40-$45 each, and they're going to take a while to sell. So the best I can do is $20. He wouldn't budge, so I bought other stuff, but I just left the Royal Daltons.
Yeah.
And he had probably 10 or 15 of them sitting there, right? So I'm still going to give him $200-$300 for them.
Even then, $20 each is quite generous, really.
Yeah, but they were bigger, and I knew they're probably about $45 a piece.
Yeah.
Right? And if there's one in there that is $300, you know,
yeah, it'll do the rest. Yeah,
it'll, right. So that's kind of where I was hoping.
Right.
But okay, you go next, Carl.
So the next one here is what I'm going to say in a second. Dawn. I haven't actually received any mail since Canada Post Service returned on Tuesday. Weird. Yeah, we got mail right on that Tuesday, I think, or Wednesday. We might have checked. I don't look at tracking either unless a customer asks me about it. Once it's out the door, it's out of my brain. That's for me, for sure, except for super expensive stuff like we just talked about. Carl, the ironing board is wood, but is busted or super cheap, but not worth selling. I have no idea what they're worth. You could even stand it up on its end and hang other stuff off of it. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I don't want anything that's going to fill my car with garbage too. So I'm just going to avoid that completely. Halfway mark, we'll listen to the rest tomorrow. And then she has the second half. Laugh out loud, Scott. Why are you taking photos of comments? That's so we can read it on here on the podcast.
Yeah, because my computer's on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
And the computer I use for the podcast, I can't go in and use it, right? Because I'm watching the screen and talking to Carl with it. So I just take photos of it. I guess I could go on so I could go into my phone and read the ones off the YouTube, but I don't know. Sometimes the YouTube is funny, so I'm missing one. So I usually go in there and just click it a couple times. I think we found out if you hit the newest to oldest, it gives you all the comments. But even otherwise, sometimes it holds it. It doesn't show all the comments.
It doesn't show them. Yeah, buggy. Do you have
out of a 2.5 hour show? This is what Don
picks I know, up. Right? Technical issue.
You're taking photos and comments? What?
Do you not have access to your YouTube on your phone? That would make your life easier.
Yes. Yes.
Anyways, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all those things. You too, Don.
And also, Don, if I do look at the one on YouTube, I am half blind at small fine print up close. So when I take the photo of it, I can take my thumbs and pull it and make the text bigger. And I am wearing glasses that Carl gives me a hard time about.
Nerd. Old man nerd.
So that's kind of the real reason, I guess, is because I can make the text look bigger and actually read it. So, and she goes on there, Carl.
No, that's all I see.
I got Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all the things.
Yeah, exactly.
So thanks, Don, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and all the things to you too.
Exactly.
Well, we got a couple from the Mr. Harry Homestone himself. The honorary Canadian from the USA. And he keeps his words very simple and to the point. And he's not humble about this one bit. He's first.
He's first. I talked to him about this on his live show, eh? He got confused. He thought this was like the Sunday night show or something.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Because he also did it again.
First.
He double first. And Don actually replies to him, not only were you first, you were first twice.
Excellent.
Harry's awesome. And thanks for listening, Harry. Harry usually comments on or comes on as a guest, or he's on the comments of the live show, which is on Sundays. I'm just taking a little break from that for this year. But that'll start up again next year. So
excellent. Well, thank you everyone for the comments.
Yes, thank you very much. Favorite part of the show, to be quite honest.
Exactly.
All right, Carl, anything else?
No, that's it for me. Anything from you?
No. No, I think we're going to have Christmas in a couple days. I think after Christmas, right up until the end of January, seems to be the strongest time of year for me.
Yeah.
Going to an auction on the Saturday, which is the 28th.
Oh, yeah.
And where are we going from there? Just kind of into the new year. So I really plan on ramping up listings. I got the inventory, but at the same time, I really look forward to picking too. I just think 2025 looks really bright. Like it really does in my mind. I think we got a lot of, I don't know. a lot of the crap out of the way. I think inflation is starting to kind of level out a bit. Hopefully, it stays that way.
Inflation's
And do
low
you see
now.
it differently, or?
No, I see the American economy doing really well.
Yeah.
That's where 90% of our sales go to. So
Yes.
that's not going to slow down. And our dollar is going to drop. So in some ways, we're going to get more money for our stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to look at it in a positive way.
Yeah. I mean, those are all great comments that I wasn't even going to say, but they're true. Like that's really makes it even brighter, put it that way. So I think 2025 could be good. Like, I mean, I'm not going to get into this, but politically there could be some really crazy things that go on. But I think realistically with the people, I think people are going to just kind of level out and maintain. They're going to just carry on with day to day, and I think part looks really bright. I just do. I don't know. I could be wrong. I might even go get a Tesla. I might go get like one of those. No, I'm just kidding. I'm staying with the truck. It's not that bright yet, Carl.
Yeah. The world hasn't flipped upside down.
Yeah, that's right. But no, I think it looks good. The store's been doing good.
Yeah,
I think there's exciting things coming in. I guess this is more of a New Year kind of show, but topic. But I just got. I'm going to do spring and fall show. I got lots of things to look forward to. So I just really look forward to 2025. Honestly,
excellent.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, me too. Like, we'll see how it goes. See if we can get some profit out of this flea market. See if I can get my store ramped up again and get some of this crap out of my house.
Stop buying the crap. That's what I'm told. Stop buying stuff and get the stuff moving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But it's fun to buy, though. It's fun to buy.
It is fun to buy.
And I'm going to look for Skylanders. I've just learned something. I'm not kidding you. Yeah. I probably have Skylanders somewhere here. But I know in the antique booth there's Skylanders. I'm going to go check to see if they got the good ones there. You never know.
You never know.
Right?
Excellent.
So, all right, everyone. Have a Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
I hope you had a Merry Christmas because you hear this after.
Yes.
But Carl, you have a Merry Christmas.
Hey, Scott, you have a Merry Christmas too.
All right.
You and yours.
Yes, thank you. And everyone, we'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye now. Bye, everyone.